That's enough. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Toastmaster, fellow Toastmasters. Brandon, good luck with your interview today. As I was deciding on which of the maybe dozen or so electives that were listed in this level 3 pathways, the last one on the list was Know Your Sense of Humor. And right away, that caught my interest. Number one, it's just fun to talk about something humorous. And one of the assignments in that pathway was to sit down and reflect on what makes you laugh. And think about the last time you've actually reflected on the types of things that make you laugh. The top 4 things that came to mind for me were, number 1, my grandchildren, number 2, my sisters, my daughters, and then my husband. So right away, my family is really my number 1 source of laughter and happiness. But I didn't want to spend the whole speech talking about my family. The other thing that makes me laugh are puns. And the third thing is what I call smart humor. So this is humor that is surprising, just unexpected. What I'd like to do is give you examples of each of those 3 types of humor and see if it makes you laugh as well. I tried to recall the last time I really had a belly laugh, and it was probably 3 weeks ago. My oldest daughter, Katie, had come home with me after work, and we were going to have dinner together, and we were sitting on the couch and talking. I don't have a television on my main floor. We were talking, and all of a sudden she looked at me, and she burst out laughing, and she said, "Your earring balls are in your ear." And I remember thinking, what's an earring ball? And what? I mean, it took me several seconds, but what I realized is I was wearing these pearl earrings, and actually it's doing it right now. These little balls, you know, that little game you can get like at a carnival, a little basket, and you flick it and try to get the ball in the basket? My earrings had done that to me throughout the day. These little balls were just resting gently in my ear. And as soon as I realized it, I'm like, oh. And then I felt over here, and sure enough, this one was resting in my ear too. And she just was laughing. She's like, "How long have you been that way?" And I have no idea. I'm tried to think the last time maybe I took something off over my head and knocked them in, or I mean, I don't get jiggy with it, you know. I don't know why they would fly up in my head. But we laughed so hard that my cheeks were sore, my abs were sore, tears were streaming down my face. And at my age, the only thing that makes you stop laughing is the threat of wetting your pants. And that is what ended that. The other thing, Brandon talked about children and grandchildren. I had my grandchildren last weekend, just the two girls. They're 3 and 4 years old. And they were in the bathroom, I thought, washing their hands. And one of the rules of grandchildren eating is that they are never doing what you think they're doing. And the oldest one, the 4-year-old, said, "Grandma, Millie dropped your ring in the toilet." Millie, the 3-year-old, is getting very sassy, and she said, "Well, I got it." So now my mind is this little 3-year-old arm, I mean, up to her armpit, fishing this ring out of my toilet, and I'm praying that the toilet had not been used recently. So she and my ring ended up in the bathtub. The other thing that makes me laugh are puns. My daughter, Lainey, and I, we have a lot in common. Number one, we both have a lot of charisma, and we both like puns. So Lainey likes to buy me things that have puns in them. She bought me a T-shirt that has a big elephant on it, and it says, "Your opinion is irrelevant." She bought me a plaque for work that has a koala on it, and it says that I'm overqualified. And one of the things I've pinned on my Pinterest board, it says, "When your gecko is broken, it means you have erectile dysfunction." That one I've held on to for several years. And then the final type of humor I mentioned was what I called smart humor, humor that's found in unlikely places. Tim talked a lot about movies. My favorite types of movies are Disney movies because there is a lot of humor in Disney movies. Shrek is full of adult humor where the kids aren't going to get it, but the adults definitely do. Another movie I like is about a video game called Wreck-It Ralph. And Ralph gets really mad at Pac-Man. And I know most of you, all of you should know who Pac-Man is. And he calls him a cherry-chasing dot muncher. And I'm trying to fit that into my vocabulary. So that's going to be the word of the day next time, a couple weeks now, when I'm going to be the grammarian. And then the other Disney movie I really like is in my top 5 now is Zootopia. If you haven't seen that, that one's a great movie. It's about diversity. It's about seeking after your dreams. And in that movie, the dad is trying to talk his daughter, Bunny, out of becoming a cop. And he says, Judy, do you ever wonder why your mom and I got to be so damn happy? How we got to be so darn happy? He didn't say damn. And she said, nope. And then he said, well, we gave up on our dreams and we settled, right, hon? And the mom says, oh, yes, that's right, Stu. We settled hard. And I love that phrase. Just a few other surprising, I guess, phrases. Sometimes the secret to forgiveness is realizing the other person is batshit crazy. I stay a bit overweight because it wouldn't be fair to skinny people if I were attractive, intelligent, funny, and thin. It's a public service, really. And when I do something hilarious, which is, let's face it, all the time, I sometimes think to myself, why don't I have my own television show? For me, I treasure those moments when I can laugh out loud about it. I try to remember it. I carry it with me because you never know when you need to use it in a Toastmaster speech. Have a fun day today.